straight from his meeting with Jim Jordan, Colorado Congressman Ken Buck joins me now. Congressman, thank you for joining us. First of all, I'm wondering, tomorrow is this vote. Do you have a plan of whether you'll vote yes or no in favor of Jim Jordan?
So I met with Jim for about a half hour tonight. I'll have another meeting with him tomorrow, but I told Jim tonight that I'm a no and look forward to our meeting tomorrow and answer some more questions.
Why are you a no?
Well, there's a few issues that I'm concerned about. One is the aid package to Ukraine. It has been fairly and surprisingly, frankly, controversial within the Republican conference. I have asked Jim to make a public, unequivocal statement that aid package will go to the floor. He wants to see certain things before that happens. He wants to see a plan from the president. He wants a special inspector general to be appointed. There are some other things that he has asked for. I want to make sure I clarify that before I make a commitment to Jim. The second thing is I'm concerned.
But wait, I'm sorry. What's the timeline for getting those answers, though? There's a vote tomorrow.
There is.
Is it possible to get those answers before then?
Well, like I said, I have a meeting with him scheduled for tomorrow morning, and we'll talk then. So I also am concerned about January 6th and Jim's involvement in that or non-involvement. We had some conversation tonight. I want to go check some things and then ask him some more questions about that tomorrow. And then finally, the spending level is an issue that I care about. We are really, nobody believes me, but we have an existential crisis in this country over spending, and we need to make sure we get that under control.
Well, let me ask you on the second point, what could Congressman Jordan say to you to convince you to vote yes, particularly on January 6th? I mean, that seems like it's set in stone, whatever he did or did not do, or, support for an election or not. What could he do now?
I think it's really important that the Republican Party state unequivocally that President Trump lost the 2020 election. I think it's important that we recognize what happened on January 6th, and Jim does. When we talked tonight, he absolutely recognized that January 6th was a disaster. It was terrible. There's no excuse for it. But the events leading up to January 6th, I think, are important for us to just get our hands around and for Jim and all of us to say this isn't the way we want to conduct business in the future.
So if Jordan were to say Donald Trump lost the election, you would be a yes vote?
I would get closer to yes. I have asked him in conference in front of other people, and the best answer I've gotten at this point is I just don't know.
So if not Jim Jordan, who?
Well, I think there is a plan afoot that we get a 30-day speaker, and that during that time, so that we can deal with issues. Right now, we don't have an aid package from the White House to deal with, but it is coming. Yeah. And so in the meantime, we need to get a speaker in place, and then we can have our discussions on who we want to lead us for the next 13 months.
Could that conceivably be McHenry? He's temporarily the Speaker of the House. Could that be him?
It absolutely could be him, yes.
Does he say that he wants it to be him?
I have not heard that from him yet.
When you look at, obviously, McCarthy being ousted as Speaker, losing that gavel, you were one of the people to support that decision. When you look at this now, do you regret that choice, given it's been almost 2 weeks now of not having a Speaker?
No, I regret voting for Kevin in January of this year. I don't regret voting for the motion to vacate. In January this year, a lot of my friends voted against him because they didn't believe the promises he made on spending. I said the guy has worked for a number of years getting Republicans elected. He deserves this chance. If he backs off of the promise, then we can deal with it. But obviously, he gave a lot of promises to a lot of people. And that's the unfortunate part of where we are. You know, tomorrow you have a meeting with Congressman Jim Jordan in the morning. The next day, President Biden is going to be going to Israel, as you've heard. What kind of pressure does his visit put on the speakership race? Yeah, I don't think it puts any pressure on the speakership race. Yeah, I think what we need to do is pick the right person to lead us for 13 months. I think if he presents an aid package to Congress, we'll either have a speaker or a temporary speaker in place to deal with those issues. Assuming that aid package comes this week, though, there would be no permanent speaker in place, and there's no indication yet McHenry would take on that role. How quickly would the fact that an aid package came put the pressure to get a speaker in place? I think both Ukraine, Israel, what's happening in the Pacific Rim with Taiwan, all those foreign issues are going to put some pressure on this situation. I also think that we will deal with that in overwhelming support. I think both on the Democrat side and Republican side, an aid package for Israel will pass. Not unanimously, but overwhelming support.
Well, there's the aid issue, of course, and then your fellow Congressman McCall, you're also on, I think, the Foreign Affairs Committee along with him. He's the chairman, and he told CNN moments ago that the committee is drafting legislation, and I'm going to quote, to authorize U.S. military force, quote, in the event it's necessary, if, of course, the conflict between Israel and Hamas broadens into a wider proxy war as well. Do you think there will be American boots on the ground in Israel?
I pray that there aren't. I think that Israel has to make that request. Israel has not made that request to this point, not just in this conflict, but in past conflicts. Obviously, we have some boots on the ground protecting the embassy and some other assets. But overall, I think it would be very unusual for Israel to ask for U.S. Military involvement.
So what would that mean for U.S. troops exactly if you have this, in the event it's necessary to authorize U.S. military force? Do you have a sense of what that would look like for the military here?
Well, yeah, I think that, when you look at Israel, obviously there is some pressure now from Hezbollah in the north, and that is probably where the U.S. would try to shore things up so that Israel can conduct its activities in Gaza.
Congressman, nice talking to you.
Thank you.
A Princeton Tiger, my friend. Give me your hand. Nice to see you as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.